tuning in. Welcome to this week's review of Alien vs. Predator, Part 2.
Showtime.
See? No monster.
What in the hell is that? Hold on! Go, go, go! Everyone at the back!
Colonel, the town's completely overrun. What's the Army's evacuation plan?
There's an airlift in 30 minutes.
The Colonel's lying.
The Army thinks about containment first. If I'm right,
We're all dead.
I'm pretty sure most people were extremely disappointed with the first Alien vs. Predator movie, and the only thing they got right in that one was getting Lance Henriksen to be in the film. So I figured, like most of you, the second film would almost have to be better than the first one. Let's just start with the title for this movie first. The title is Alien vs. Predator Requiem, and I think a better title would have been Alien vs. Predator vs. Dawson's Creek, because that's what this movie felt like. We all know that Alien was one of the great sci-fi horror movies of all time, and Predator, as cheesy as some of it may have been, was still a really fun movie, and most do consider it at least a cult classic. And the second film in the Alien franchise was also extremely good. So it stands to reason that combining these two franchises could be a great opportunity to do something even better than what we've seen so far. To my surprise, not a single A-list actor was cast in this movie, so it stands to reason that one of two things must have been the case. Either the script was so bad that no one wanted any part of it, or the budget was so low they just wouldn't cough up the money to get them. Either way, you have to wonder how two franchises that boast the names of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, Yaphet Kotto, Carl Weathers, Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton, Ron Perlman, and the list goes on and on, can't get at least a couple solid established actors to be a part of this combined franchise. What they did instead was go to the classic horror movie remake or sequel formula and get all the actors from TV shows like Rescue Me, The OC, 24, The Job, and CSI New York as the cast for the film. And this is always a clear warning sign for any movie that could be in the horror genre. And the only actor I even recognized right off was John Ortiz from Carlito's Way, made way back in 1993. And his character was killed in the first 15 minutes of that movie, and if that film were a Star Trek episode, he'd be the dude wearing the red shirt. I always feel films like this get rushed, because of names like Alien, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they sell tickets. So why worry about making a classic, but then clearly make a film that doesn't even come close to the original on a low budget, and still make a decent amount of money with no downside? Well, don't get too down just yet. There are some good points to this film. It wasn't all bad, and in fact, I'm pretty sure a few people will make posts like they always do after every movie saying, this was the best movie ever. So for those of you thinking of posting that in the comment section, make sure you watch Alien, Aliens, and Predator again before you put this movie into that category. And I highly doubt most people would ever say that it was nearly as good as any one of those films. Since this is basically a sequel, I think it's very fair to compare those films to this one. First, let's look what this movie did right. There are decent to good action scenes, and there's a good amount of gore and violence. And this film doesn't pull any punches. Anyone can die, and die a horrible death. And a good overall body count, meaning lots of dead people. And now for the bad. There's a mediocre cast at best. And there is some terrible acting with characters speaking horrible wooden dialogue. And basically bad directing of the actors. This movie did have some lines that make Arnold proud. They were that bad. And the one thing I could never understand was why there was only one Predator in the film. The whole time I kept thinking, when was backup coming? Nope, just one dude taking them all on. But it really didn't hurt the movie. As long as there were no actors in the shots talking or doing anything, it was a decent scene. But once the actors got in front of the lens, man, it was always downhill from there. I think the dialogue and how it was delivered was what really hurt this movie the most. You could almost hear the director giving the lines to the actors before each scene. You hear this quote, "People are dying, we need guns." And I just can't do this line justice. You just need to see it to understand what I mean. Not really a bad line in and of itself, but when you see it in the movie, you're just like, wow, did they just graduate from Pauly Shore's acting school or what? And if you learn anything from this movie, it's that the government would never lie to you, and that they will always look out for you. Well, at least that's what I got out of it. The ending was actually okay. I like the fact that this film did have a pretty edgy tone to it, and they did try to keep it on the darker side of things. I'm just glad they at least tried in some ways to keep the spirit of these two franchises alive. Overall, I think a decent amount of you will like this movie, and the reason why I'm being pretty hard on it is because I know and remember clearly what made these two franchises great in the first place. And I just thought this whole AVP thing could have been so much better than it was. And I'm also surprised that more actors and directors didn't want to take a shot at combining the two. The only thing I can come up with is that the studio wouldn't give enough time and money to develop this into a great new franchise. Because with names like Alien and Predator, that brings in $60 to $80 million without even breaking a sweat. And I think if they tried harder, Alien vs. Predator could have become a classic new franchise instead of a guilty pleasure. Again, if you had any interest in seeing this movie, check it out. You'll like some parts, if not the whole movie. Some scenes definitely deliver. Just pretend the humans don't exist and it'll be a much better film. From overall rating, I give Alien vs. Predator Requiem 2.5 stars.
Get to the chopper!